Hiya guys, and welcome back to Aid's Workshop. So, carrying on with the mini lathe, a few bits have come in. Firstly, I ordered a new box of tips. Now, Do Tool, online, I think it was eBay, quality tips. What did I buy this time? TCMT 110204-CS. DT400, it says 100. Yeah, so not my usual. Normally I buy the ones for aluminium, but these have got a smaller radius, so we'll give those a try on Warco. I did mention that I needed some flange nuts or some nylock nuts, 6 for the tool holders. I did buy a bag of those, it was like 20 of them, so I've got those. And the third thing I mentioned was I was going to buy another Rome chuck, ROHM, Rome. So the last one I bought was Tracy Tools. That's where I got it from, so let's have a look. They did send me a leaflet through with all this stuff. So that's it, Tracy Tools, in the UK here. They go to a lot of the shows and what have you, and I've seen their stuff, and I think I bought at one of the shows the last Rome chuck. Let me see if I can show it. Yeah, it's right here. So that's the first one. It's been quality, it's been excellent, it's been nothing, nothing I can say. If I'd bought an Albrecht, you know, the stupidly expensive ones, I don't think it could be any better. You know, it's had loads of use and been absolutely brilliant. Now, I made my own arbour for this with a 12mm shank. So I was expecting exactly the same or similar, just a bit larger in diameter, and a completely different shape one came up. So I don't know. Jury is out. Now, it did come with a brand new MT1 screw-in arbour for it, exactly the same as the original one had. I don't know what thread it is. It does say on here, Rome 10mm 1640. Is what's written on it. So my concern is I bought it brand new, and you can see it looks like real old stock. Yeah, not that best pleased. You know, it's already showing signs of a bit of rust on the back end, and it just looks, I won't say it's used, but I will say it's old stock. So I don't know, is this a drill chuck perhaps that they've adapted with that MT1 as opposed to a precision chuck? But it is Rome, so I'm going to try it out, see how it gets on. So I'll have to see if I can get the arbour out of my original one. I think that's got a smaller thread than this has got. Pretty sure it has. I'll see if I can find the original arbour that came with the excellent chuck. Then I'll soon know if it's the same fitment, and I won't bother taking this one out. So that's where we are. We'll go from there. Yeah, so in this episode, it's going to be a short one. I'm going to play about with that, see if I can get it to fit the tool holder. Where is it? Yeah, I'm going to need a 10mm shank for that chuck, or for the 1/4" chuck. We'll see. So that's where I'm going with this episode. So, as usual, thanks guys, enjoy. So having just gone for a delve, good news, same thread. So I can take the arbour out of the original, put it in this one, we'll give it a test. So just put it up on its arbour. Let's just lock the spindle. I put it in my ER32. Okay, that's coming undone. I could not remember if I'd Loctited the spindle on there. Do not remember. So anyway, there's the chuck removed. Let's try the new one on there. Just make sure. There's no means by which to tighten this, but it should self-tighten. Ugh, that feels awful before we even start. Right, okay. Well, it didn't feel awful, but the thread certainly wasn't that concentric. That's only ever going to tighten up. Okay. So I've gone from actually about the same length. That's good news. Right, so how do I test this out? I know the other one was like perfect. Let's put a drill bit in and have a look. Yeah, something that hasn't got a chewed up shank, perhaps. Something I don't use very often. Yeah, nice cobalt drill there, 5.5. Oh. I always like, I don't know, a little known fact. I've used, obviously, this has got a ratchet effect. So, let me just take it out. So, it's loose in there. Tighten it up. Right, when I tighten, you'll hear the ratchet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be tight, but if I go back the other way, there, that'll lock it there. And then go beyond to undo it. I only discovered this a while ago. That locks it. Okay, going back the other way, just that spot. So, let's have a look at how true it runs. I haven't got the mill turned on, we'll have in a second. Okay. Looks alright to me. I think the answer to that is winner winner. I've now got a 10mm chuck that runs in the mill instead of that 6.3 or 1/4 inch chuck. Let's see, does it go down low? What drill can I get? Let's just grab a 1mm drill, is it? See if it, I think it was spec'd at 1mm. You're going the right, no, going the complete wrong direction. Oh dear me, you think I'd have been doing this long enough now to, come on, where's those jaws? Here they come. Think I'd have been doing it long enough to know which way to turn the chuck. Let's see how it looks down at this sort of size. Missed. Actually not bad. There's a little bit of throw in the end, but I think it'll be okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we're on a winner. So I was suspecting it wasn't as good, but it actually is. So happy days. That's changing the chuck now. I can now go up to 10mm. Okay, so flange nuts in position, not tightened down. Yeah, happy with those. They look nice with those rings. They're not too big, too small. They look great. So I've laid out the positions to get the 3 glands in the bottom of the box, and as you can see they all line up. Yeah, it was a bit of working out to see how I can get the nuts on the inside, but it looks good like that. So just pop the first one in, that fits. Put a black mark on my drill. There's 2. And there's 3 holes. There we are, happy days. Well, there we are, fitted. I managed to get 3 in the bottom face there. So yeah, I can carry on and look at the wiring now. So when I started out wiring this, certainly with, let me just show the panel on the wall, I did write down what's going on, what pins, what terminals do what. And as you can see, the output sockets, sort of middle left hand side of the box, I know what each wire, what each colour does, what each pin and socket, and it's all written down, so I've got a fighting chance of getting it right. So this cable here, this one, the end of this one, where are we? The end of this one comes from up here, as you can see. Now this is the stepper motor control and the 24 volt power supply. Now the only reason the lathe needs 24 volts, it goes to a 12 volt transformer for the speed controller. So this is one of the 2 cables coming in. So I'm going to feed this into the bottom of, let's have a look, the box here on one of the 2 glands. And the appropriate colours are going to go in this terminal block that you can see on the top here. Can you see it? Just about. Okay, it's all going to be stuffed in the box for now. At some point moving forward I might put a DIN rail in there with some terminal blocks, but I just want to get it going because it's all got to be stripped down and painted, and guards are going to be made, all that sort of thing. So not all of these cables are being used, some are, some aren't, but I know which ones because of my plan on my sheet of paper, as long as I don't lose the sheet of paper. So I'm being careful here. I'm breaking the insulation on the cable. As you can see, I've got a blunt knife, just putting a score mark in, bend it over, it's blunt, but if you break a bit of the way through, being careful not to break the insulation on the wires on the inside, because that would be bad. There we are. Bid them off, and I've not nicked any of the wires, not given them any damage on them or whatever. So yeah, it's important when you're bearing off the end of cables, especially multi-core like this, not to get too heavy-handed with a Stanley knife and start nicking these wires. So they're all connected up. Red, green, blue, black. That's the 4 wires. Oh, hang on, I've lost my knife. I'm losing my knife. Come on, out you come. Dropped it down the slot of my table. Right, okay. And I don't want... oh, swarf. It is blunt. Okay, so that's the terminal block for the cable for the stepper motor control 24 volt incoming. All the rest are control panels for the servo, not servo, for the inverter. So they'll be on their own individual terminal rail. So I got a second length of wire. I've just bared it off in exactly the same careful way, making sure not to nick any of the cables. This one's going to be all soldered on to the plug that goes in the wall. So there's, yeah, it's not easy, it's fine work, a little bit of insulation on the end of every one, but we'll get on with it. So here's the plug, little screw in the end. We do supply a screwdriver when you get the plugs and sockets. I'm going to put that in the end of the bed, twist, out comes the plug, and the cable clamps. I'm going to take the cable clamp completely out. Try not to drop the screws. There we go. Chuck them in there. Chuck the clamp in there. Move my auto center pop out the way. So all my screws are in the end of the mill. So I've got to put that on the end of the cable first. So as you can see, there is no way the cable clamp is going to go over the insulated part of the cable. If I were to do this again, I would get larger plugs and sockets. But it does go over there, and I will put some heat shrink around. That will clamp up nicely. There's enough tail left out of there, so this is going to be up here somewhere. I'll put some heat shrink around this afterwards, and we'll just go with that. But yeah, need some larger plugs and sockets would have been the ideal. So the hardest pin to do is the one in the middle, so we do that one first. So I've tinned the end of the wire, I've tinned the terminal. Oh, hold on. I'm a lefty, for those of you that didn't know. Okay, that's connected. I have put a piece of heat shrink over the cable, and on this particular wire the white is the fattest one, so I'm going to make a note what wire I put on what terminal, and I'm going to slide that down there, insulate it, and then shrink that on. Okay, so I'm going to work my way around the outside. That is terminal number 8, so I'm going to make a note, white 8, and we can go from there. So all connected back up, bit of heat shrink over the lot. Yeah, if I were to do it again, larger plugs, make it a lot easier for myself. So connections from the wall to the lathe are done. Green one is the 3-phase supply for the motor, and the other 2 obviously are the 2 control cables, and then there's the earth bond as well. So many people say I should use screen cables, all the rest of it. Yeah, totally I agree if I was making a CNC, but I'm not. It's purely a stepper controlled 3-phase. You know, I'm not worried about interference, anything like that. And if it messes with the neighbours' radios, fun, isn't it? So final part, you can see I've got one more gland. That'll be all the cables from the lathe will come up through here, other than the power cable obviously, because that's all in this one. But all the cables from the lathe, all the control cables, 24 volt stepper motor, all the signal cables for the inverter will all come in from the lathe into this, be connected up on the appropriate terminals. Talking of appropriate terminals, I did write down the colours on what pin they went on to, so I do know. So obviously I know what the equation is coming in this way. I just made up a new arbor. It's just plain turning, guys, with a thread on the end. Only thing of note with this was it had to be concentric. So the thread is concentric with a 10mm. And I'm just putting a 0.5 millimeter flat on it in the back. No reason I can't do it that way. Just for the screws to sit on when it goes in the tool post. Don't really have to go all the way up to the end there. Okay, so degrease that, chemical fluid, I think. They've just changed tack. We'll try a bit of meths to degrease it. So it's all degreased, I got it stood up there. Yeah, I held it in paper towel, completely soaked it in meths. I'll let that evaporate, pick it up with a pair of pliers, drop it in the blue. So it had its usual 10-minute soak after the meths, little touch of oil. I think that's my best results yet with chemical bluing. So that's my new go-to, methylated spirits for the clean down. I did degrease it first, wash it off, wash it up liquid, make sure there was no oils in it, and then I cleaned it with methylated spirit. Yeah, that seems to work better than anything. Well, there we are, that's it in place in its tool holder. Another job ticked off the list. You know what, I think I will get, do I need a 3/8 chuck? I'm tempted to get another one of those 3/8 chucks, and maybe another one of these, so I've got the same for both. Maybe I'll do the same on the Walco. I quite like this. I've never thought about doing it on the Walco, but I might make up something similar for the Walko as well. So yeah, all sort of making tools for my tools again. Well, here we are, guys. I think that's about it for this one, as I always say. Yeah, little bits coming along. That's it with the mini lathe. A little bit more of the wiring. I'm advanced. I know what wires go to where on those two cables, so it's just a matter of elongating the wires. I may need some terminals inside the control panel of the lathe itself, just to be able to patch them onto that. So yeah, little steps, taking my time, writing down all the colours, all the numbers as I go, and I've got a fighting chance of getting it right first time. So yeah, I'm pleased with how that chuck turned out, and I'm pleased with the 3/8 chuck I bought as well. So first impressions was, doesn't look the quality, but it was good. It's a nice piece of kit. So yeah, Tracy Tools I got that from. Very happy. We'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Cheers now.